Hey, it's Chuck Armstrong with Loudwire Nights, and this is Loudwire Nights On Demand. We recently caught up with Tyler Baker of Goodbye June and dove deep into their upcoming new album, Deep in the Trouble. This aired on Monday, May 13th. Enjoy. Man, I have been excited for this conversation for a bit because tonight's special guest, I don't know, as far as I'm concerned, man, they blend so many worlds of rock and roll together into one just crazy, fun, and catchy sound. The band is Goodbye June, and tonight we're joined by Goodbye June's Tyler Baker. Tyler, thank you so much for hanging, man.
Hey, what's up, Chuck? Hey, what's up, Loudwire world? Happy to be here.
It's good to have you hanging, man. So, just getting right into it, your brand new album, Deep in the Trouble, is set for release on June 28th. And if I'm not mistaken, this is full-length number 5. Is that right?
Oh, man, that's a loaded question. Okay, so technically, you're a journalist because you did your research. It is technically number 5, but it will be the 4th one that is available for purchase and consumption.
Right.
Our first independent record was gobbled up in our first record deal and shelved indefinitely. So we're still kind of working through that.
That's a good feeling. That's nice.
Oh, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling to work so hard on your first release and then it gets shelved and put away forever. Hey man, that was our path, and that's the choices we made. And I'm just happy to be with you here today. It's
right
led
on,
me
man.
here. So there you go.
On. So how long have you had Deep in the Trouble finished and ready to go?
Last summer we cut it, and then we've been sitting on it and working on, assets, music videos and stuff all winter. And we did some touring to support our previous record, between all of that too. So we're just happy that it's coming out this year. We were worried it was going to be like late in the year, but we're like, no, let's push it. Let's do June 28th. We set a date and we're like, let's go. Let's do it. So
that's great, man. So is there a bit of anxiety as you have that weird in between of finishing it and now waiting for its release?
I mean, of course, you're always going to be a little insecure. You're going to listen to it, 100 times, and then you're going to be like, man, maybe I should have done this guitar part like that, or sang that lyric like that, or But no, I mean, here's what I'll tell you is that the record, to me, I'm obviously biased, but it's aged really well for a year, meaning that I'm still excited about all these songs. We're starting to play them. We're out on tour right now, and we're doing a selection of songs live, and they're going over incredibly. So, everything's aging well, and kind of with our brand of rock and roll, we shoot for kind of, it sounds so douchey of me to say, but we shoot for a timeless sound. We shoot for a timeless sound,
No, I get that, man.
You put a Les Paul through an old Marshall and you crank it up, and, you get kind of this sound that doesn't go stale. It's just,
that's right,
and we kind of live by those rules. So, man, we're so excited to put it out. We're excited to be starting to release singles, and the reception has been incredible. We couldn't be happier.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's gotta help to have a couple songs from the album, out in the wild. You've released The Hard Way, and most recently, just on Friday, you gave us the incredible music video for Riding Through. And I gotta say, man, it looks like you guys had a lot of fun making that music video.
Yeah, maybe too much fun, really, to be honest. I'll never forget I showed it to my wife, and she, and my wife is, wonderful person. I'm not going to paint her in the best light right here, but she's incredible. But she looked at me and she said, "A lot of pointing when you're dancing. A lot of pointing, man." And I was like, "Really?" And then I looked at it again. I was like, "I did point a lot." I was like doing these Elaine Bettis from Seinfeld style moves when I was dancing, and I was like, "Man!" But I mean, regardless, man, we had so much fun doing it. I mean, I don't even care. It's hopefully it's fun for you to watch as it was for me to do.
That's right, man. Yeah, it comes through, and as much fun as you must have had making it, yeah, it is fun to listen to the song and to watch it. And the other 2/3 of the band, right, Landon and Brandon. It's been the three of you, right, since day one for Goodbye June?
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess the recent history of Goodbye June, we used to long time ago. A lot of people don't know this. We used to be in like a Christian band, and we had a bigger band back then. But when we decided to, pray to the Dark Lord and accept him as, I'm joking, start doing rock and roll basically with the devil's music, like when we decided to do that, me, Landon, and Brandon, we all moved to Nashville, and that became what is Goodbye June. So there's a little bit of blurry gray history in the past, but yeah, man, me and my two cousins, we've been doing this. We write all the songs. We have really just a couple producers that we've ever trusted with our music, and it's really just been a really close, tight knit family since 2009.
Yeah, there aren't many Christian bands that just plug a Les Paul into an old Marshall amp, So the second you said that, I'm like, oh, you guys are heathens. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't really work out real well for us. We were just trying to be good boys. That's all. We all grew up super Pentecostal, super ultra religious. Wildly fun fact. The Kings of Leon and my two cousins went to the same church in West Tennessee, and they were all friends. Yeah, they were all friends and ran around together. So that little tiny Pentecostal church produced two rock bands out of it. So I don't know what's up with that.
Hey, man.
But statistically, that seems impossible.
Yeah, man, I'll take that kind of preaching, man. I can dig that.
It's something about it.
Yeah. So like I said in the music video for Riding Through, it's clear you're having fun, and you said that too, and but you can hear that throughout the music that you guys have made over the years, and you can hear that on The Hard Way too. Clearly, like you and your two cousins doing this for so long, like it just seems like you guys are having a blast making this music together. Yeah, man,
it's awesome. It's I think this record, Deep in the Trouble, is really it's kind of everything that we've learned, and it's such a to me it's such a comfortable record, and you can tell that we're you can tell we've been working on our songwriting chops, and we've been working on getting the energy right and getting the music right. And I think Deep in the Trouble is our best work to date. So I'm really excited about it.
Which, it sounds sort of just silly to say, but that's got to be such a good feeling, right? To be making music these many years later and to still feel like, man, we're making our best music still.
Yeah. A lot of bands don't get that. And we've been kind of, as Brandon always says, he said, we've been army crawling up a hill through barbed wire for a long time, like just as a band, and as like, it's always felt like we were really just word of mouth, grassroots, friends bringing other friends to our shows. And that's how we've grown, and that's how it's always been there. So, that to go through that journey and to still be excited about music and still be, I'm so excited. You can hear it in the solo of The Hard Way. I'm about to just come off the rails. I'm like, it's like I'm excited to be there. And I really am, and Landon is too, and Brandon is too. And it's like, we're trying to push into something that's special. And we just want to be, we want to be your favorite rock and roll band. And that's, that's what we want to be.
That excitement, that fun, like that comes through. And like, for me as a guy listening, right, as the guy kind of, absorbing this music, like, man, that's what I want to hear, as much as that's what you want to play, like that's what I want to hear too, man. There's whatever stuff I've got going on in my life, whatever stuff you got going on in the world, like to be able to sit back and just hear just straightforward, pure rock and roll like this. Like the Les Paul plugged into a Marshall is a perfect illustration. There's just something really special about that you can connect with, and it's sort of cathartic to just let loose with that kind of rock and roll.
Well, yeah, and we hold ourselves to, I don't know why, but what it felt the best when we were making creative choices on really Goodbye June sound and who we were as a band. We decided a long time ago, hey, we're going to do, live to tape style recordings like all of our heroes did. ZZ Top, Creedence Clearwater, Led Zeppelin, all those guys. Now there was some studio magic in there, and we partake of that too, but the meat and the core of what we do is all live to tape. It's doing something 10 to 15 takes, in a row, and trying to capture that magic. And Deep in the Trouble and our previous records too. We've always kind of went by this ethos, and we think you can hear it. We think, there's so many other bands in the world doing everything perfect and utilizing technology in beautiful ways that makes the music perfect and very, very pleasant to listen to. And in my opinion, there's not a lot of bands that are doing it this way that is very, very authentic and very, very human. And you hear little flubbies, you hear little things, but man, that was my favorite records. That was Pink Floyd, that was CCR, that was all these guys. You could tell that it was just these magical takes of musicians in a room, and there wasn't all this doctoring and there wasn't all this perfection, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm really proud that we leaned into that, and you can hear it on Deep in the Trouble. You hear the humanness of what we do. And that's like, what's funny is I got into it one time with a gentleman who was on the other side of it saying, no, you guys are doing it wrong because these recordings last forever and you need to make sure they're perfect. And I was like, yeah, man, but the more you make it perfect, the less you make it human. And
that's right, man.
I always gravitated towards the human. And because trust me, guys, when me and you are old and gray men, who knows how much human is going to be left in music, you know?
For sure, man. And maybe even before we get gray, you know? Like,
yeah.
May not be much longer. No, I love that, man. I think of some of my favorite bands and some of my favorite albums. And I like just that, whatever that is, that humanness of it, where you might hear, maybe not a mistake, but like a little imperfection or just that rawness of it, man. It makes the music that much more real for you to connect with. So I love that, man.
Yeah.
We're talking a lot about having fun and the excitement around this. But I got to ask, do your former people from the Pentecostal church, do they know that you guys have your own bourbon?
Okay. Great thought. Great setup. Let's talk about it. No, but man, I mean, we still have a lot of family that's in that world, right? And surprisingly, and surprising to me, and this just shows how good of humans they are. They've supported us, and I mean, they're very kind to us. And in the beginning, it was really, really tough. But I think now they see, I mean, at a minimum, they see that it's authentic and that it's real and that we needed to do this because this is who we are, rather than act like something we're not, being in the church world, playing that music. I mean, at least they grasp the authenticity of what we're doing. And it's kind of wild. We've had some of our old people from our former lives come to our rock show.
Nice,
and we see them out there in the crowd and it's like, hey, and it's funny. We have a song called "Oh No" on our first record, and the bridge of that song is what anybody in the Pentecostal world or any Southern Baptist world, it's a praise break. Or it's like a moment where the band's going and people are running the aisles and talking in tongues and just receiving their gift from the Lord, right? And that I remember when church people would come in the early days to our shows, they'd be like, you guys just did a praise break in the middle of a rock and roll song. We're like, yeah, we know it like works. It's great. Yeah. Like, this is like, it's how we grew up, So, to answer your question about the bourbon, maybe not received in like, we're not getting a lot of high fives, but hey, I think they're putting up, I think our family kind of puts up with us, and they're beautiful, wonderful people. So,
And listen, if listeners don't know what we're talking about, Goodbye June has their own bourbon with 3-chord bourbon, which is, it's really great, man. I'm so excited about that. I love seeing that, and I know 3-chord is a very legitimate, blender, and it's not like some shtick with you guys or anything like that. Like it's a great bourbon, and it's really amazing that you guys have that.
Well, it is wild, man. So we had a wonderful publicist send me a note and said, this is too good. And he wasn't actually working for us anymore. We just kind of had become friends, and he sent me an Instagram, and all it was a link to 3-chord's website. He's like, this is too good, you should reach out. So I was like, all right. So I literally just wrote the contact us and said, hey, I'm in a rock band and I got a song called 3-chords, and I know you guys are owned by Neil Girardo. I was like, why don't you check us out? Just see if this is something. And dude, they got back to me the next day and we started talking. We talked for about 6 months. And then all of a sudden now we have a bourbon with this wonderful company. I mean, it's all musician driven. It's all Neil Girardo. He's partnered with many bands. I think he's up to like 10 bands now. It's just a really cool rock and roll metal community that he's trying to build. And these bourbons are legit. Like we won an award we took it to Bourbon and Beyond. and we won an award. And we're like,
that's amazing.
And we're getting high five from all these, connoisseurs and all these bourbon people. And I'm like, hey, I have, all I knew was what tastes good. And Neil helped us. It was us three and Neil. And we were tasting all these bourbons and all these blends they were making for us. And like, hey, is anything speaking to you guys? Do you like any of this? And we finally all unanimously picked what became our bourbon.
That's
and
awesome.
then, dude, we sent it out. And we started, getting accolades for it. I never thought I'd be selling bourbon. That's for sure.
That's awesome, man. So what's on the horizon for Goodbye June this year? I mean, obviously you got the new album coming out on June 28th. What else, man?
Yeah. We're pretty laser focused on that. We got more singles coming out, more music videos coming out. We have a special pre-order vinyl. If anybody's a vinyl hound, it looks like you are. I need to send you one. It looks like. But we offer only 600 really special, cool vinyl. You can get them through our website, pre-order now. And it's a huge help to the band. And I don't know, I don't want to get into this too deeply, but this is our first fully independent record. Whereas before our whole career, we have been associated and had contracts and different obligations to record labels and just different entities that always left their mark on us, which, and I'll never say a bad word about it. That's what it took to get me here. Right. So, and they were very kind and took chances on us and all that. It's all great. Right. But I'm very proud that Deep in the Trouble, we took a chance instead of signing a new record deal, partnering with new folks in that world. We decided to do it all ourselves, and we self-financed, self-produced. Everything you're seeing and hearing is coming from us or, people on our very, very close team that we trust.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be more proud of like this moment in my career. This is the most I've ever not slept over releasing music. So let's just say that and I say that is when you order a vinyl, when you order a CD, when you stream a song from this record, it's a big deal, and it's a big deal to us. So
awesome.
We thank anybody that wants to do that. So thank you.
Right on. Tyler Baker, man, I got to say, as much as we talked about humans and humanness here, you seem like a pretty good human, man. And it's been great chatting with you. And thanks so much for hanging. So Goodbye June's new album, Deep in the Trouble, out on June 28th. Stay up to date on Goodbye June's tour plans for the year. Pre-order the new album. Watch those music videos for Riding Through and The Hard Way at goodbyejune.com. Goodbyejune.com. Thanks so much for being on the show, man. Hopefully we can hang again soon.
We will. And thank you for creating the community that you've created. And I'm just happy to be a part of it. So thank you. Thank you, Chuck.
That wraps up this episode of Loudwire Nights on Demand. Stay caught up with everything happening in the world of rock and metal on the Loudwire app and at loudwire.com.